Well, hi everybody, and welcome to The Wrap. I am David Gillette. We are going to begin this evening with a trip down memory lane. So let's do the time warp. We're going to start with a photo. We're going to take you back to 1970 Duluth. And this svelte young man right here, graduating from high school, ready to take on the world, has a lot of talents, and he decides to get into the media business, which is, there he is, doing the hard work out in the field. And then fast forward about 40 years, and you have a man many of us in the media business know and respect, Mr. Aethan Hart, who is our guest this evening. Aethan, thanks for being here. And it is, in fact, a wrap for you because you decided to call it quits.
That's true. 1 week ago today, I retired from Care 11. I'd worked there since October of '83, and my first week of retirement has been pretty good.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
What do we even call a guy like you? I mean, you started in film. You went through probably every video format there is. I mean, we say things like videographer, photojournalist. What do you think of yourself as?
I think the latest term, Jesse Ventura called jackals, but the latest the latest term would be could be multimedia journalist, multi-platform journalist, multi-something journalist.
What was your favorite format of all this? Oh, Jeff's going to chime in during this too. You have a lot of friends here at the DBT studio.
Film I liked. I liked film. It was pretty good. You know, it was kind of risky, but you didn't shoot a lot of it. You had to, go with what you had, and it wasn't like a video notebook.
Yeah, I should throw the control room a curveball. Can we go back to the second photo that we showed, the black and white of Aethan holding up the old film camera? This is going to show you how naive I was when I was looking at this photo today. I actually looked at your pockets in that one and thought that you were packing chewing tobacco, like in both pockets. Do you guys have that picture again, the second black and white one with him holding the camera up by the car?
That was those cans in my pocket were 16 millimeter film, 100 feet of film for my silent camera on my back, which I used to be 7 feet tall, but I started carrying that. That was a sound camera. You had to step into a harness you had a silent camera, which was cheaper film because it wouldn't have a mag stripe on it. No, I carried those in my pocket, 200-foot cans of film. Yeah,
what a challenge. We gave you another challenge tonight. We asked you to bring in a few segments that sort of represent big memories of yours from your years in this work. And I think the first one, let's just roll this first video. This is from Cuba, I believe.
Just 90 miles off the coast of Florida, Cuba might as well be on the other side of the world. 40 years after the revolution, 10 years after the collapse of the Soviet Union, the city of Havana is a shadow of its former self.
Beautifully shot. And that was before Cuba was relatively easy to get to.
That's true. We went down there with the St. Thomas baseball team.
Okay, that was the excuse that got you through the door?
Yeah, that's what got late Brad Woodard and I went down there, and it was a fabulous experience. Fabulous experience. We also went down there in January, so it was pretty warm.
I was able to travel there on one of these recent academic trips, and we had a minder, so to speak, a representative of the government. Same experience? Was someone following you the whole time?
We had a minder, but we were actually able to ditch that minder and actually go out into that neighborhood where the squealing pig was and do stuff on our own. We kind of gave the minder the slip, which was excellent.
What was shooting on the streets like? Because, I mean, you were doing stand-ups. We didn't show them in this clip, but you were doing stand-ups out there.
Yeah, it was no problem. I'll tell you, it was easier to shoot news in Cuba in some ways than it is here. You could go. We went into a school and did stuff. You could do stuff on the street. No one came out and hassled you and said, "You can't be here. You can't be in this school. You can't do this."
Really?
It was really easy.
Well, maybe
to
they know not to say no to the media in Cuba.
Well, I don't know. Things have changed. Maybe I don't know, but. It was really an eye-opening experience. It was wonderful.
And you brought a lot of batteries just because of the logistics?
A lot of batteries. We brought a lot of tapes with us. A lot of tapes.
Okay, well, let's transition to politics. That's how you and I met over at the Capitol.
Correct.
And here's a Ventura interview that I know you're going to remember.
Saying things that you know are going to frighten the public when that is not true.
You know, Carrie, you as a media person have a lot to talk about on that. You people who hype things for a living are now going to lecture me?
Well, who told you that they were going to shut down and close, and that there would be no one there to watch the convicts?
With that, the governor ended the interview.
So when the questions get a little tough, you're going to leave?
No. When I've answered it 4 times,
Governor,
I'm going to leave.
Wow. So what do you remember from that day?
Well, that was great. I mean, we were the last in line of all the TV stations who would do the interview with Jesse Ventura. My colleague Kerry Miller and I had covered him extensively, went to Japan with him, went to Zumbrota, went to Rochester, all over the place, Los Angeles. It was great. And she got him, and he got up and walked off, and I was on the camera that my colleague Doug Fremming was on the other camera, so I had to do that quick zoom back.
Quick reaction time.
I had a quick reaction time, and after that, he never did interviews at all with local media.
So you killed it for the rest of us?
Pretty much.
That was it?
That was pretty much our fault.
Okay,
yeah,
well, you got a good
Kerry
one out
and I,
of it.
it's pretty much our fault.
Well done. We have one more photograph from back in the day that we did not show that we want to reveal now. You took this picture, and that good-looking young man in the red tie, you know who that is, right?
I think I remember vaguely who that is. Yeah, right. Yeah, I do.
This is what amazes me about media in Minnesota. All roads lead back to Duluth, and of course, you knew Eric back then.
I did.
That was Rick Shevchik, who's
Been on the Rap before as well.
with us. Ethan and I, he went to Central, I went to East. We began working at KDAL. It was a TV radio combo, CBS, in Duluth back in 70s.
Well, I started in '73, and I think...
started in 71.
Yeah, so, yeah, we were at the same station
You had
together.
a character in common that you wanted to mention.
We were mentored by the late, great Joe Vadalero.
And his famous line to us was, whenever we'd go anywhere to a sports thing, he'd say to the people there, first we eat, then we shoot.
He had a million expressions. What are you doing, trying to cause a riot?
Or just a commotion.
Or a commotion, yeah.
Exactly.
He had 1,000 expressions. He was about 5'2", 5'3".
And he could sing opera.
Oh, yeah.
A Renaissance man.
Yeah, and we had Lord Beaverbrook.
Yeah. And Albert.
Beaver Hastings, Prince Albert.
Prince Albert.
And Marsh Nelson was the late, great sportscaster in Duluth. And we learned a lot from Marsh. But he had this menagerie of characters in the sports department.
He did. It was great fun.
Oh, gosh.
I know you were all ambitious young guys, but did you have any sense that you all went pretty far in this business? I mean, did you kind of just have a chip on your shoulder? Well, I mean, Ethan, you're behind the camera, but you've been doing this for 40 years, and you had the last Governor Ventura story. I mean, did you have any sense back then that there was something in the water in Duluth going on that all of you would be here together now?
Asbestos.
There was asbestos in the water.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
Filtered water.
In fact, Shevchik's band was called Filtered Water.
Right.
Because that's when reserve mining had the tailings and the...
I don't know what the moral of that story is, but that's a good transition into music, and I need you two to carry the water on this because you did a lot of still photography of musicians back in the day.
Yep.
We can just roll through some of these and maybe just tell some quick stories to wrap up here.
This is Waylon Jennings. Actually, Eric and I were at the same concert at the Minneapolis Auditorium. T.G. Shepard opened.
Oh, sure.
That's Waylon, late Waylon Jennings. That's at UMD, where Eric and I both went to school. Rick Nelson in the Garden Party tour. This is John Fogerty at the Duluth Arena playing a very rare shot. I always thought when I got it, he's playing an electric banjo. Kind of very rare. You don't see that every day. And with those custom amps in the background, Mother Maybelle and the Carter sisters playing her auto harp. Great. That was at the Duluth Arena. These are the days when you could actually get up to the stage and photograph. Now you can't get anywhere. You can't even bring a camera. Now you can bring a cell phone, I guess. But yeah, that's Merle Haggard with Bonnie Owens playing the Duluth Arena. Merle's got his name on his guitar. Late Merle Haggard just died April 6th on his birthday. So yeah, took a lot of still photos. Eric remembers those days.
Oh, yeah. Ethan and I had a philosophy class at UMD.
We did.
And what did you learn from that?
The subject was, what is art?
Oh, boy.
We spent the whole semester with these highfalutin, grandiose, bloviating discussions of what is art. And on the last day of the class, the professor said, art is whatever the art community says is art at any given time. We wasted a whole seminar, a whole semester to get to, remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah.
That reminds me of like Taj Mahal had the line, what is folk music? It's music that the folks like.
He ripped it. It was plagiarism. I'm going to go just a second longer because I have one more question. If people wonder why we're interviewing a KARE 11 guy, you have TPT roots. Long before the KARE days, right?
I did work at TPT when I was up on Como Avenue in the pole barn and the trailers, and I'm sure some of the people in the control room remember that.
Yes, and that leads to my last question because I have it on good authority that for all your talents, you could never back one of the dang TPT vans out of the pole barn. You kept bouncing and bumpering. Do you remember any of this? Is this true?
I did shear some wood off the garage door side, and anyone that knows me even knows that backing up a boat is still difficult for me. But yeah, backing up those vans was a big challenge for me.
Yeah, but are you excited about retirement? You're not going to have a desk telling you what to do every day.
Well, anymore. I'm not at all you know, I guess it's only been a week, so I can't, you know, give you a full perspective of what it's like. But what I told Eric earlier is like, for years, I was assigned something to do every day. Now I'm self-assigned. So that's going to be interesting what I can do. And I got lots of things. I can get back into stills, play guitar, do a whole bunch of stuff. Some stuff I don't even know yet, but it's going to be fun.
Well, you can start by tweeting about this segment on the Wrap because we need all the
I
help
heard
we
that
can get.
internet's pretty popular.
We haven't proven it here yet, but that's all the time we have for this week. We'll see you soon. Thanks, Aethan.
Thank you, Eric.